Good day to everyone. My name is Alexis. I want to give you a warm welcome to our free webinar, Metaphors for Inspired Coaches and Trainers. This is going to be a great webinar that we're going to have today with Alexandra Lemos. She's very experienced in this topic, and she's going to share with us some techniques and some knowledge about this. First of all, I would like to check that everyone can hear me or can hear us. If you could please raise your hand. Press the hand button on the application on your device or on your computer, so we know that you can hear us and you can see the presentation. Okay, I can see a couple of hands. Good. Well, I hope everyone can hear us. And if you have any questions, please write them down on the questions panel, on the question section on your device, and we will be going over the questions at the end of the session. So right now I want to welcome Alexandra Lemos. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your time and for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you so much, Alexis. The pleasure is mine. And I would like to say hello to everybody that is investing her or his time to attend this webinar. And I think we can start, isn't it, Alexis?
Yes, go ahead. I think everyone can hear us and it's all good.
Okay. So being part of the ICC also gave me this movement and helped me to use metaphors as a mean for my coaching sessions, so for my work as a coach and also my work as a trainer. And well, I decided to do this webinar about metaphors because I have been receiving a lot of feedback from people that are engaged in my trainings as potential coaches, and also from the clients, from the live coaching sessions, the executive coaching sessions. And well, they tell me that the message and the richness of the contents of the sessions or the trainings, they are much good lasting, which means that they get memorization of the ideas, of the phrases, of the contents, like anchors, and so it lingers. So it's amazing the power of a metaphor. And I have been using metaphors, not only verbal metaphors, also non-verbal metaphors, and also artistic metaphors. We will talk about that also. So I use metaphors created by myself as a trainer to engage people and to get to the unconscious mind of people, but also I really take advantage on a good sense from the metaphors that clients bring to the sessions. So if you want to get inspired by my metaphors, I can give you some examples during this webinar. I have taken pictures from a lot of my metaphors. If some of you are students from my trainings or my clients, you will remember some of them, some of that metaphors. If you are coaches, you can have ideas. You can do the copy-paste special, which means you can use your own metaphors, and it means that you'll broaden horizons to use other metaphors, because we are engaged in a world full of ideas, full of colors, full of objects, full of bridges between what we want to say, what we don't know how to say, how to express it. So there are a lot of good objects, good ideas, good artistic means for us to express ourselves and also to get in touch with things that we think that we don't know, but we know it. They belong to our unconscious mind. And so metaphors are also useful so that we can do the download of some resources that are hidden for the conscious mind, and to be able to express what at the beginning seems that was absent. And so metaphors can touch what is present and also what is absent. That's the great and the full potential of a metaphor that I will explain in a few minutes. So the challenge at the beginning was this: would you like to enter the incredible world of metaphors for coaches and trainers? So I think this is an incredible world. For me, I use it with passion, with creativity, with talent, and engaging clients, so that they can build with me the metaphors that touch their souls, their hearts, and that they are very useful for the work. So it is about the power of simplicity. So we need to simplify. Reality offers us a lot of stuff, some complicated challenges, obstacles, and so we need to simplify. So we need to get some means to get things simpler so that we can, well, move on with our life. And so this is how metaphors will create an effective means of communication between what I want to achieve, where I am now, and we talked about the present state, and where do I want to be. So this is all about creating metaphors that match to the client's context. So they need to be in tune with the client's movement and flow, what the client is bringing, what the client wants to achieve, and how can he also bring the metaphor home. And I'm talking about the 3D metaphors because they are physical. They are not just a word, they are not just a written word, they are not just a spoken word, they are not just a drawing, they are real 3D metaphors. In Portugal, where I am working as a coach trainer, I am sometimes known as the metaphor trainer because I really use a lot of 3D metaphors, not only already put on the training room, but also into my bag, and at the right moment I take it from my bag and I show it, and I ask people, what do you see here? What does it remind you? What do you bring from here? Where does it touch you? So it's interesting because 3D metaphors create reality. And we are human beings, so we live on the 3D world. And so we can use these metaphors during coaching and training sessions. And I will give you some photos of the material that I'm using with a lot of success, at least seeing from the feedbacks that I have been receiving. And I really want to share it with you, because I think that good ideas need to be spread with trainers, with coaches. That's the way we can grow, and that's the way we can share ideas and also learn from others. And it's incredible how the metaphor can help people reach a higher level of performance and like an anchor. So it must be associated to resources. So first of all, what is a metaphor? What is a metaphor? That's the question. So we can talk about first from the origins of the word. Metaphor comes from the Greek meta, which means beyond, go beyond, and phorein, carry from one place to another. So it means that we can do a bridge between where we are right now at this moment and to go beyond we can imagine. So giving this figurative sense to the literal meaning of a word or phrase, that's the origin of a metaphor. So we can have metaphors in analogies, stories, like the storytelling, also use metaphors. It is itself a metaphor. Parables, popular sayings, anecdotes with humor, allegories, proverbs, and so on. So they allow all these materials, all these things allow us to access to deep and conscious resources. So that's the richness of a metaphor. Therefore, we are going to see some metaphors engaging with this. So as I said previously, we can have verbal metaphors. So it means that, well, we are saying words, we are using a proverb, we are using an anecdote, we are using stories also to take care of the complex situations, also little stories to have specific goals, analogies, symbolic sentences, so that we can give an highlight to what we want to talk about. We can also have non-verbal metaphors, yes, like gestures, a drawing, a sculpture, photo, a symbol, metaphoric objects that I really use a lot, so that it can touch my inner representation, and I can express it to others. And also we can have artistic metaphors, which means that we can draw, we can paint, we can do a sculpture, we can use a specific symbol from other things. So it can be really, really artistic. Okay. So metaphors, they are also understood by those sides of the brain, which is good because we need to have both sides aligned. So the left side connected more with the conscious mind, meaning a connection with rationality, logical thinking, and also language processing. So this is what from the metaphor is literally understood. If I show an object or if I say something like I'm like the sun, okay, but what does it mean? I like the sun is literally understood by the left side of the brain. And then when we use the right side of the brain, we are associating the metaphor to the unconscious mind. So we are talking about intuition, creativity of emotions, and so we have this figuratively understood. So we use those sides of the brain. So there is no problem with the metaphors. They are really absorbed by the brain. Let me show you a metaphor used by a client. Okay, he said, I prefer to be the head of an ant than the tail of an elephant. Great. So when I heard about this, I asked the client, what do you mean by that? What does it mean to be the head of an ant? And what does it mean to be the tail of an elephant? So this client was expressing her theme, because this was an executive coaching, so she was a lady, and she told me that she had a problem because she was working on a big company, and she felt that she was just the tail of an elephant. So the tail don't give direction, so it just goes where the elephant goes. So she said, I lost my leadership abilities because nobody is able to listen to me, so I just receive orders. And the big company means the big elephant. So she said that she really wanted to be the lead of a company, a smaller one, probably her own company. And so the following sessions were all about this. And she did a graphic where she put on one side a head of an ant, and then on the other side the tail of an elephant. And so we start exploring with coaching with powerful questions. What was to be the head of a ant, and what was the meaning of being the tail of an elephant. And it was very curious that I used this symbolic language because we need to do the backtracking with the client. And she was talking in every session that now I'm getting closer to be the head of an ant. And so, on other sessions, she said, this week I was feeling that I was the tail of an elephant. So, and we were aligned because she shared the metaphor with me, and we explored the deep meaning of this metaphor. And well, that's it. When the client gives you, either you are a trainer or a coach, we really need to use the metaphor. So we don't need to use other words. It's better to use the words contained in the metaphor because they are really rich in meaning for the client, or for the coachee, or for the potential coach when somebody is learning how to be a coach. So this is the metaphor used by a client. I have here another metaphor. This is a personal metaphor used by a client. I am a small tree, because when I ask, who are you as a metaphor at the present state? And this was a man. I am a small tree. So he felt like he was not good enough. He wanted to be something else. So I want to be a full of confidence tree. He wanted to get bigger, to raise the self-esteem, and also to raise leadership abilities and skills. And so he saw himself as a small tree, but on the desired state he wanted to get those resources that he needed for his leadership. and also for his personal issues. And so this is an example of a personal metaphor used by a client. Also, during the following sessions, I was asking this person, how big are you now as a tree? And he was answering, well, at this time I am a tree with a middle size, and I would like to reach the biggest size. So we were talking about going from the present state to the desired state using this metaphor. And when I was asking questions using his keywords, the size of a tree, we already were in tune and aligned, because what was important was the meaning behind this. So the metaphor that allows him to go beyond. So from here to where we want to be. It's another example of a metaphor. So give you another example. I would rather see horizons than being focused on the walls. So this was another metaphor used by a client, and we were working together to reach the aim of this metaphor. So what is the horizons for you? What are they? Can you write it down? So he was talking about his goals, about overcoming limiting beliefs. Then on the obstacles, of course, the obstacles were the walls. So this is also a metaphor. So I would say this is a verbal metaphor. Okay, when the client draws the metaphor, it begins to be well, a non-verbal metaphor, just drawing and saying, I'm this, and my present state is this, and I want to go there. Okay, so of course there are verbal metaphors, as I have said previously, non-verbal metaphors, and artistic metaphors. Okay, so in the coaching work, we use the three types of metaphors. Okay, and when the client uses it spontaneously, it's very important that we listen to the client and we start to use the concrete word that the client has used, because we are doing rapport with the client, because we are talking directly to the subconscious mind of the client. So no need for further explanations. That's the power of a metaphor. Okay? So what are the goals of metaphor? We have some examples here to get access to the unconscious resources of the client, because when, well, client sees an object that is connected with the value behind the goal, for instance, is connected to what is important for the client, and he was not so aware of that, he or she. And imagine that this is a metaphor, a 3D metaphor that I will show you, and it means the values behind the goal. It gives a lot of strength to the client. He was not aware of that, and now he's aware of that. He has an anchor, he has a metaphor, a physical metaphor that he can put in his hand and use it later and during the coaching process, so that he can focus his mind on what is important for him. Also, another goal of a metaphor is to capture someone's attention, to raise memorization. Yes, of course, because it's easier. Okay? It's a bridge between reality and the symbolic world of the non-literal meaning of things. Also to clarify things. Sometimes it's very useful. It's very useful, so that a complex thing can be put into clear words, to simple words. Also to neutralize limiting thoughts or beliefs, and I will show you how can I do it in a minute. And also to strengthen fantasy and creativity and appeal to pleasure, because there are a lot of metaphors that are really using humor, and humor is a mean to relaxation and to go beyond obstacles. And so when the client is more relaxed and is laughing, it's better for the learning process. So he's not in danger of being stuck into a position of an obstacle, of something that he cannot understand. So things get easier. Okay. So the use of a metaphor also has a privilege for the client, for the person that is working with you, to start seeing inside yourself. It means, this is also a metaphor I'm using, this body where we see the inner part, the skeleton, which means that we allow ourselves, when we use metaphors, to go to the unconscious mind, that part of us that we don't see very often. Okay? And also, when you have the client on a state that we can call lack of resources, because he says, I'm stressed, I have a problem, like a present state, okay? You can ask the client, who are you as a metaphor right now? You can say, well, I'm a dark sky. Okay? Then you need to get the client out of that state. You need to put the client in the state of resources. And so when I put the client in the state of resources, because I can ask the question, what do you want instead of being stressed? Well, I want to be in control of my life. So you are changing the mindset, the mental GPS of the client to another state. One thing is to be in stress, the other thing is to be in control of my mind. So what is the meaning of being in control of your mind? What is that? Can you give me some examples on your reality? And when the client starts to talk about the path of resources, he is in the state of resources, so he feels more engaged with the goals, he feels he has more strength to move forward. When he's in state of resources, that's where I sometimes use the 3D metaphors, which means I use objects to allow the client to engage those objects to the meaning of being in the state of resources. Okay, so that's the way I work. I can give you an example of a box, a transparent box, where I put inside some Post-its and the pen, and then on the cover of the box I put the photo of the client. It was an executive lady, and when she was on the state of resources, saying finally that I deserve, I can do it, it's possible to reach it, I have a good family, I have a good employees, because she's the CEO of a good company. So she was saying a lot of words related to the state of resources. Then that was the right time for me to give her a box where on the cover was a photo, on a smiling photo, it was a smiling photo. And she opened the gift and I said, now you deserve a gift. You have a gift, I have a gift for you. So this is a metaphor, but I only give it on resources so that the client can associate the gift with the state of resources. And when she saw a photo, a smiling face on the cover, she was very happy. She was very, wow, what a surprise. And inside the wall of Post-its, and she wrote the words. I asked her, please, write the words you have just said about resources, that I have a good family, I have good employees, we have a name in the market, we are very well positioned. And so in each page of the Post-its, on a heart shape, she was putting these words. And so the box was full of resources. And then she closed the box, she hung the box, she gave a big hug to the box, and she said, wow, this is amazing. And during the coaching process, she was remembering about resources. And so when her mindset was running away from the state of resources, she was looking at the anchor that was that box, that metaphor, and she said, no, I want to go to jump to the state of resources. And she changed her reality because she changed the way she was thinking. So changing the way of thinking means that you are changing your emotions, you are changing your language, you are changing the importance of what is really important. And then you can jump from another path, which is the path that will drive you to success. And so this was a case of a simple box with a photo. So this was not the first session. And at the first session, with the authorization of the client, I take some photos of the client and I give to the client. And sometimes I use one of those that is better, smiling and with a power pose, to surprise the client with these little boxes. Well, they are little because they are not so big, but client can have it on the top of the desk. But they are very, very great boxes for the client because they are using 3D metaphors, because this metaphor was used on the state of resources. And a lot of clients that I have, sometimes when I meet them in congresses or at the company where I go, they say, look at my box. My box is there. And me and the coach we know what is the meaning of that. So it's very interesting that the client uses that for further states of improvement. Okay, so to use metaphors, we need to have passion. So passion is needed. And I split the word passion and put it a T on it. This is not my idea. It's from an author I cannot remember now. But passion, like pass it on, is needed. So if you have an idea and you have passion to work with people, pass it on. And that's what I'm doing. I'm passing you some metaphors, and I will show you some photos of real metaphors that I really use on a daily basis, and on the ICC coaching trainings, okay, with a lot of enthusiasm, and people get passionate about that. And sometimes, I don't know if there are trainers, ICC trainers, listen to me, but at the final session, for instance, in a certification, in a coaching certification, the participants need to perform a coaching session. And while they are being inspired on a daily basis during the 8 days of the presence training by the metaphors that are around them, at the end, they appear with the surprise of using also metaphors, 3D metaphors with the clients. So this is a next step from the sessions, and it's great because everybody learns from that, and they are really creative. And I see them working, and I say, wow, when I grow older, I want to be like you, because you are inspiring me also. So this is like a spiral, a dynamic spiral of good intention, of good vibes, and puts people really in a good mood. Okay, so flexibility is also needed, because you need to broaden horizons and open your mind to metaphors. And sometimes, because I buy a lot of objects, I confess, because some of the metaphors, I do it with my hands. I constructed with paper, and I paid them. But some of them, I just paid, because there are a lot of stores, and we are going to the store and we see objects. And sometimes what I used to say is that I don't buy the objects, they buy me. Okay, so they jump to my arms and they tell me, please, Alexandra, take me with you. And I say, wow, I don't know why I'm picking this, why I'm buying this, but I know that I will need it in the future. So sometimes I can anticipate the power of an object, because it will be used on the right time when I go with the flow with the client and I say, wow, I have it here in my bag. So I really have a bag of metaphors that I don't show the client previously, because that would mean that I was working with expectations, which is not the case. And so I just show the metaphor after the client says something or is talking about lack of resources, that he wants to transform it into resources. So I need to show some metaphor or use it when I use it from my side, after the client express himself or herself the meaning of what they want to achieve. Otherwise, I will use the metaphor that the client brings, and it will be a verbal one or an artistical one, which means it is a non-verbal one. Okay, so the 3D is the ones that I use when I offer them. Okay, and the other thing that is needed is also ideas. Ideas are needed. For instance, you see here a lamp. I really have a lamp in the classroom when I do trainings, and also in my bag when I work with clients, because sometimes clients, they say, I need to have some other ideas. And sometimes when this comes to the air, the client saying, I need some extra ideas, or I need to have ideas to change my family reality. I need to have ideas to deal with my kids. I need to have ideas to deal with my colleagues, to deal with my boss. And I give the lamp. I said, do you need this? And the client claps and says, yes, that's it. So what can it be? Like an expression in your own reality. And it is interesting because the client takes the lamp with him and with her. And it means that this is an anchor or a metaphor, 3D metaphor for further developments when he's using for her reality. And so I will show you now my bag of 3D metaphors. Yeah, that's my bag, as you see. So I have a lot of things inside it. One of the things is the board where you see the word next. I will explain you what is the next board. But yes, I have a bag. So to carry the 3D metaphors. And so let me continue. So imagine one of the metaphors inside is the boomerang. So I have this boomerang. You can buy a boomerang on a sports shop and paint it. And this is this was painted by a colleague of mine, and then she offered me this metaphor. And so I was very happy because the boomerang meaning the balance between take and give. So everything that you think, everything that every action that you take, it will have back to you. It will have a movement that goes again on return to you. So if you think positively, it means that your reality will express that state of mind. So the boomerang, I use it as a 3D metaphor to explain the balance between take and give. And when clients say, well, I would like to think positively, but around me I just see poor things that doesn't work, and so they don't work. What can I do? I explain the power of the boomerang as an expression of the need to change the mental GPS. So when you start to do good actions, when you start to empower your employees, when you start to say beautiful words to your colleagues, to your wife, husband, or kids, you start to see the impact of that, like the boomerang. So it is like a universal law. Of course, if you put seeds of potatoes on the soil, on the fertile soil, you will collect potatoes, not any other thing, just potatoes. So what you are doing now will be collected in your next future. So the boomerang is one of the metaphors that I use. Now you have the hardboard. This is the hardboard with the word next. So this hardboard is always with me, and I use it to work with a client and to use the metaphor of changing limiting beliefs or limiting thoughts, because beliefs are habits of thoughts. And so I give this to the client and tell, well, can you have a next thought on a more empowering path on what we want instead in our life? So when you are dealing with your mindset, with your thoughts, sometimes they are negative, sometimes they are focusing on what is not working, what doesn't help you. And can you do like a negotiation with your mind? And so you talk with your mind and say, next, I don't want to hear you because that doesn't going to help me in my goal, to achieve my goal. And so next, I want another thought, I want another feeling. So next. And the client uses the hardboard next. And sometimes he puts it in the desk while he's working. And when the mindset grabs the client to the negative path, he looks at the next and say, okay, next, no. I don't want. So the inner enemy, we are talking about the inner enemy when we are dealing with our mindset, and our mindset puts us in the limiting path. And so next is just a metaphor for we need another thought here. This thought is not going to help me get resources. Okay, this is the hard word. So this is a 3D metaphor. Well, look at the metaphor, the balls. This is an anti-stress ball, so it is like the size of a hand. And sometimes when I deal with clients that they want to launch their own business, and so using the previous metaphor, they also want to be the head of a hand, so they want to be the boss of the company. And sometimes they start tiny company, but then it grows. And so what does it mean to be a boss? Yes, and when they say, I want to be the boss, not the employee. So do you have the boss mentality? Yes, I have a boss mentality. Okay, let me give you something. And so the client receives the boss, like you see here. And wow, this is the boss. And he starts to look at the ball with the shape of a boss. And he laughs and he says, wow, this is perfect. I want this. And so we work around this. So Now express yourself. What does it mean? What does it mean to be a boss? What is needed? What do you want to achieve? What is important in this? What is stopping you from being a boss? And so we do the coaching session, we get resources. After we see what does the client want, what does the client want as a goal, what are the values behind the goal, and then what is stopping the client to achieve the goal, and get resources, see if they are ecological, and then an action plan. And we get the client committed to really be the boss. And so the client uses this metaphor, a 3D metaphor, to remember himself or herself that he wants this. So we need to have another behavior. Otherwise, we will stay at the same where we have always been. Okay? Diamonds. Can you imagine? Well, these are fake diamonds. Of course, they are made of glass, but I have a lot of them. I have a lot of diamonds. And sometimes I use all the shapes here, all the sizes. Sometimes the bigger one when the client is in a state of resources and he says, yes, I deserve it, it's possible for me, I'm big, I am perfect, I am beautiful, I am talented, I have self-confidence. So the client, when he's in the state of resources, then I give him or her the diamond, and I put it in the hand of the client and say, please imagine that this diamond concentrates all the words that you have just said. So can you repeat it? We need to put the diamond in your hand. It's a very emotional moment because the client, this is very beautiful, these diamonds are very beautiful, and he looks at the diamond and repeats it. So with repetition, so that he can really memorize what he's saying, and afterwards the client will write it down so that we can also reinforce the words that the client is saying. And so the diamonds are they impact a lot on the client's mindset. And the client takes the diamond with him or with her, and after that I receive a lot of feedback saying, wow, the diamond is with me, and I have it in my bag, and I have it with me always to remember what I have said during the coaching session. Because during the coaching session, sometimes there is a huge understanding of the resources that somebody has, but then in the real life, our mindset that tends to separate us from the resources, because we deal again with the problems. And so these metaphors will have the power to help the client to establish a focus on the mindset for the resources, and not again for the lack of resources. So the diamonds are also 3D metaphors that I use. Sometimes when I work with groups, I have a lot of people in the training room, and so I give each person at the end, when they say, what are you bringing from here? What are you bringing? Doing a bridge between what are your best qualities. And they start to say, well, I bring energy because I'm a very energetic person. And so I give a diamond to that person. Then the next one. And so everybody will take a little diamond. Okay, so that's a 3D metaphor that I'm using. You can buy it in stores. So I found it on a store in Portugal, and well, it's not so rare to see these things. Okay, well, for the winners of life, yeah. This happens when I have clients that they tend to be more negative, with the negative thoughts, and they are stuck there. And suddenly, when they unlock the potential and they start to say, no, I really want to be better. I really want to show the expression of my own value. And sometimes I use this as a metaphor. And I put it on the neck of the person and say, well, now you deserve this. Use this as a prize, an award. It's like an award. Yes, because you reach that fundamental part of the coaching session, which is being your best friend. So this is for the winners of life, when people reach the best friend time, the best friend moment. Because sometimes we are looking for appreciation, for somebody to tell us that you are very good, you are great. But the first step is that we can reach the point where we say it to ourselves. So the inner dialogue is very strong. So the inner game is of resources again. So we can be our worst enemies or our best enemies. Okay, so our best friends. Sorry. So when we are our best friends, we can use this award to talk about what the client has said and to reinforce the idea. Sometimes I use this post-it. It is a handshake post-it to reinforce ideas because it gives an example that all the resources are in my hand. And so what is your hand? What can you do in the next few days to achieve that? Well, I can do this, I can do this. Okay, what are the 5 qualities that you will have in your mindset and that are in your hands so that you can follow the vision of your goal? And, well, the clients write it down on the hand and they take it. Yes, I need, well, my quality is being very enthusiastic. I'm an expert in something. I have a good will. I have leadership skills and so on. So they write the words in each finger and they take it with them. If you don't have a shaken post-it, the client can put the hand on the paper and he or she can draw their own hand and write the hands in each finger. It's the same thing. It works the same. They hear, oh my God, this is wonderful for coaching. What is a coach? But here with legs. This is the 3D metaphor also. It's not so big as it is shown here. It has more or less the size of the palm of the hand. And when I use it a lot in leadership, working with leaders, with executive leaders. When they say, I need to be a better listener, I need to hear more, my employees, my directors, my peers, my direct superiors. And when he says that, yes, what does it mean to hear better? What do you get from that? What does it get for you? And then I offer at the end of the year. It's wonderful because I say, whoa, I had it with me, and I can remember about what I've said during the sessions, and I'm doing team coaching with my employees, with my colleagues, and I have the here with me so that I can remember as a vivid metaphor, a 3D metaphor, that's what I want. So that's a way to get our mindset in a good shape, and where we need to be in control of our mind and not having the mind like a free horse, doing whatever she wants, the mind. We need to neutralize negative thoughts. So we need to hear the mind and to hear the others. That's the meaning of this here. I have here the emergency kit, and the emergency kit is also connected with the ear because, well, this is a little bit damaged because I use it a lot also in Spain, in the trainings where I'm invited by Alexandra Lemos, the trainer, the ICC trainer for Spain, and in Mozambique also with Alberto Nanja, and in other places. So this is an emergency kit that has been used a lot. And what is the emergency kit for coaches and for leaders? Because leaders have a tendency not to be leaders but chiefs, so they give answers to their colleagues, to their direct reports, and they should instead listen to them. So when they open the box, aha, the box, yes. Inside the box there are band-aids, which means you need to close your mouth. You need to use your ears much more time than your mouth. So speak less and listen more. That's the metaphor here, also a 3D metaphor. When the client talks about the key issue, yes, and this is my key issue because sometimes you have a tendency to spread and to lose energy because we are focusing in a lot of subjects at the same time. And so there is the key issue, and I ask, what is your key issue? Because the client is talking to me and saying, I have a key issue here. What is the priority for me? What is up on the top of my list? And I use this key, and I offer in the key as a metaphor. And so to remember, so that he can remember, he or she can remember what is important and not losing focus. This is another metaphor. Oh, the on-off button. This is amazing because sometimes I have clients that they say, well, I would like to have an on-off button for my kids. Also, I would like to have an on-off button to deal with my direct reports. And so I offer in the on-off button and say, does it work for you? You have the on-off button. Is that the way you want to take care of the situation? And well, the clients laugh and they realize that that's not so simple. We don't have an on-off button. So this is the 3D metaphor to challenge the client's ideas. And sometimes I ask them, so do you also want to be on an off mode or on an on mode? And I said, well, I want to be on an off mode when I listen to my direct reports of my family, of my kids, and I also want to be on an on mode when I'm there for them. So they use this metaphor for this, so that they can switch between one state and another. The handcuffs. Oh my God, these handcuffs. Well, they are not real, of course, and the client can release himself from these handcuffs. And sometimes when this is a metaphor for breaking state, for instance, when the client is talking about that I feel myself in a prison because I don't know how can I get rid of this problem. I don't know how can overcome the situation. And sometimes I use like a theatrical methodology, which is to express what the client is talking about with this metaphor, but of course you won't stay much time using the handcuffs, and it's just for him to have a shock and to say, wow, what are you doing, Alexandra? Well, I'm reproducing into reality, expressing it into a 3D mode, that the way you are feeling. Is that correct? Is that how you feel? And the client says, yes, I feel like I have a handcuff. And I ask him the key question, what do you want instead of that? And he or she says, I want to get rid of this. I want to be free. Okay, so what can you do to be free? What is to be free? And the client releases himself or herself from the handcuffs, and this is very, very relieving for the client. And he never forgets about this. And sometimes when he's into his or her reality, and he's again into the handcuff situation, he remembers, I don't want handcuffs anymore. So this is bringing reality into an environment which is the coaching session, which is secure. So the client can do some training with what doesn't fit his life or her life, and what is freedom all about. It's another 3D metaphor. Oh, the garbage can. The garbage can, I use it a lot in my trainings as a coach trainer, because one of the issues is to throw away or throw out expectations about others. This is all about coaching. When we expect something about other people, we are not listening to the other person, and so the coaching cannot happen. And sometimes I offer this garbage can so that people can remember that the best place to be is without expectations about others. That's why there is a lot of frustration in the world. So if you want to have a free mind and to work with people and listen to people and let others express, it's better you have a garbage can so that you can deposit your expectations about others. This is another 3D metaphor that has a great impact in the coaching sessions and also on the coaching training. Okay, the tree. I have this one. I have painted it, and well, it's about what does it mean to have fruits, and when the leaves are green and have a strong trunk. So when the client talks about the tree, I use the tree, and we talk about the tree, looking at the tree. And so he's doing the bridge, he or she is doing the bridge between the trees, the fruits, and the trunk, and the roots, with a lot of meaning. With good roots, where our values can be, we can have our trunk, we can talk about the experiences, and then the branches and the leaves are the results of everything. And the leaves can fall down if we have a tree that has leaves that fall down in the winter or the autumn, the fall. And so it can also mean limiting the leaves. So in another season, other leaves will grow up. So this is a great metaphor also for somebody that sees, wow, that person has a lot of results in life. But we are just seeing the fruits. What is under the soil, the roots? So all the effort, all the values, all the resources that all the the training that the person had to perform like this with good fruit. So this is also a good metaphor. And the elephant metaphor, I really use it a lot because elephants, when they are babies, they are put with a rope on a leg, and so they think they are stuck in a tree, for instance, or in a post. And when they grow up, they also feel the same rope, and they think they are prisoners. And so that's the way people use to control elephants. But the elephant, when he is bigger, he has enough strength to break the rope, but he doesn't do it because the stimulus was to stop when the elephant feels the rope. So sometimes people are like this. Old beliefs doesn't work for us any longer, and we still are stuck into those limiting beliefs. So it's time to break the ropes and get out of other mindset. So to get into resources and get another empowering beliefs that lead us to our goals. Sometimes I use humor while changing language patterns, and clients or students of coaching, when they start talking about, I want this, but I need this, I need that, something wonderful, but the but. And when they understand the changing language and start to say, well, I want this, and I know it's difficult, and I will do any effort to get there. So they change the but for the complement E. So the integrator is an E. So E in Portuguese, in English, and. Okay. So instead of but, it is and. Okay. I know this is hard, and I'm going to do it. So, and when they start to use the but, sometimes they use these guns like a metaphor to remember that they need to stop saying buts after the goals they are expressing. Okay. The inner game also, I give some tennis balls to people when I talk about the inner game of tennis, immortalized by the author, well, in 1974, Timothy Galloway, about the inner game of tennis, about what is our inner enemy, our inner opponent. The inner opponent are our thoughts about our goals, about our resources. And so I use these balls to represent, to give a meaning to what is my inner game. And I have it in my hand. Now I can see you. Okay, that's the way. Sometimes I use masks also, because people are talking about limiting beliefs and who am I? And sometimes behind the mask, people talk a lot. They have more courage to talk behind the mask. It's interesting. On the white masks, they write a lot of things. Who am I? Who do I want to be? So they use this mask as a persona. Okay, so as somebody that I want to achieve, or sometimes I want to get rid of this mask. So I want to take the mask off. Also, another metaphor. The magnifying glass. When they don't know what they are looking for, that they say, I want to see it clear, and I use this. Okay, you can use this. This is a great metaphor because they improve the knowledge, they improve the clarification of what they want with the magnifying glass. Also, the sandwich feedback method. As you know, we use it in our trainings and as for leaders to give feedback to direct reports, for instance, in the evaluation processes. So first start with the positive aspects of the observable behaviors that were delivered. Then so this is more or less the reinforcing feedback. Then we jump to the balancing feedback. Okay, so what aspects need to be improved? And then we close the sandwich with the upper part of the bread with positive words so that we can raise the other person's motivation. So this is used to praise others and also to self-evaluation. So I have it here on a physical pattern. So this is a real 3D metaphor, and I use it in training so that people can remember that when we are doing intervision between pairs or people are giving feedback during the learning process of coaching, they need to use this methodology, okay? Because we have a tendency just to focus and spend the majority of the time saying what was wrong, it's not correct on the coaching structure and process. Okay, the clipboard, I also use it as a metaphor when people on executive coaching, they want to do trainings with me. And sometimes we rehearse what he wants to say to the boss, what he wants to deliver as a keynote speaker. So we do coaching with communication, to improve communication skills. And then I use the clapboard to say, okay, this was take one, now let's go to take two. Yes, and they like it, they love it. And I say, wow, a lot of takes, and I will do the real take on my life now. So the Miraculous Coaching Magic Potion. This is wonderful because when people start to say, wow, now I start to understand my skills, my values, the meaning of this, the meaning of that, and I would say, do you have an extra potion so that you can reach the sky? And the client say, wow, wonderful, I can reach the universe. So this is also a very humorous metaphor. This is a pen, okay, with some liquid inside, colored red. It's also amazing. Also, when I talk about the mechanisms of the brain, to explain the 3F strategy, the flight, the fight, and the freeze strategy of our amygdala, our emotional automatic mechanism to react to reality. Sometimes it is true, sometimes it is not. And I use the brain. This is a 3D brain that, well, it was during the training they offered me to students. I was very happy with this because the left and the right parts of the brain can be left apart, and we can see the amygdala, so I use it. It's wonderful, people touch it. Using letters or signs to put on the wall so that we can pass on subtle messages. Love is all you need. Yeah, this was a student that offered me, and I use it. This is a board, and I use it. Also, I give you some examples of a training where I put the name of my company, the Premium Coaching in Portugal, and you can see right here, we love ICC. So I really used it, and it's wonderful. You can see the next also hardboard on the door. So I use a lot of words because I use letters to highlight some messages I want to be present during the training sessions, okay? And just to end, I will give you the metaphors, the artistic one, where I myself represent a metaphor. So this is Mary and Onion. I used in the Congress of the ICC, invited by Sonia Colombo, wonderful ICC trainer from Dominican Republic. I'm performing this because I appear on stage, as you see, as a housemate, full of problems, and once the audience starts to ask me powerful coaching questions, I start to take my clothes off. So this is a layer metaphor, and sometimes I transform myself into an executive person, but these executives are really mad. He's a stressed executive and he's not happy. And once the audience starts also to ask me powerful questions, for instance, what is important for you in life? What do you want to achieve? Who are you? So where do you want to go? Something like this. I really continue to take another layer, and at the end I get this, just with no shoes. So just like this, with a heart in my t-shirt, just to express, I just want to be loved and to be loved. So that's the end of the metaphor. This is Mary and Onion, and I use it a lot in congresses and in public presentations. I think that it's interesting because I received good feedback about this. And a metaphor where I was invited by Daniel Palmer as the ICC trainer from Spain. This was in 2010, the Chief 10, which is Jornadas Internacionais de Coaching in Santiago de Compostela. So I reincarnate this personage, the observer, which is representing an ancient person that is observing humanity and the control things that on a daily basis we use with one another. And so he wants to retire because he's tired. And the message is, could you please be observers of yourself? So yeah, this is more or less like a 45 minutes presentation where I perform this creature, and it has a lot of metaphoric messages. So, and this observer also takes the clothes and everything that he has, and at the end it changes myself with no clothes from this guy, this observer. So are you a victim? Are you a controller? Are you an interrogator? So he talks about that. So I use these metaphors representing the message, so, and people get really impacted. These are two photos of the observer because he's talking to the audience and asking questions, and he wants to hear people talking. Okay, and at the end, I use these balloons also as a metaphor So everybody gets a balloon, and at the end of the observer metaphor, people use the balloon to put inside all the hair that people have inside them, representing the limiting beliefs, and then we dance with it, and at the end everybody does what everybody wants. They can really blow the balloon or take the balloon with them. It's what the client wants. Also a great metaphor. This was in Santiago Compostela, also invited by Daniel Lemos from the Instituto Bem Pensar. I am here with Andrea Lages and the marvelous coach, which is Maria, and I have this hat. I have here a hat. I don't know if you see. It is on my right side. And I use this hat. I took it from a hairdresser to represent, do you think for yourself or do you need to use other person's head? So this is the metaphor as I use it in trainings and in coaching sessions. And it has a lot of impact because clients say, I don't want to use the other person's head anymore. I want to use my own head. So what is inside in your own head? Can you explain? So it is like a very impacted metaphor also. Okay. And the other metaphor, this is me with a wonderful friend and client in Santiago Compostela also. And do you see the smiling in between us? This is a great metaphor I have. It is a 3D metaphor. So on the back of his head, we have not a smiling person, but a very sad person. And then I can rotate this toy. It's a toy, anyway. And people get this. I want to be this state. This is a state of resources. So that's another metaphor I use in trainings and in coaching sessions, and people like it because they take photos in front of it and they really enjoy it. It's very colorful. And to end, this is also a metaphor which was drawn by the students of a training, an international certification training. And they put a roadmap for success in coaching. So you can see the waste paper basket, so you can see people talking, you can see the target, you can see the brain, you can see the magnifying glass, and you can see the tool. There is a box full of tools. So this is wonderful because they are drawing metaphors, and that's the aim. It's to go beyond words. It's to go beyond thoughts. It's to express what we are feeling, what we want to achieve, what is really valuable for us, through this kind of drawings or artistic expression and using metaphors because they go directly to our subconscious mind. And so they have a great richness inside, okay? And I think we are getting to the end. So Alexis, I'm asking any thoughts or questions about what we have been talking here?
Well, let's see. No, there are no questions so far. Let's see if anybody has any questions, doubts, maybe comments. You're welcome to make them in the questions panel. So far, we have no raised hands and no questions, but it was very, very interesting, Alexandra. I think. And let's give it a chance. Okay, it seems like somebody has a question now. Oh, no, people are saying thank you. It was very interesting, yes. Thank you, Irma. Let's give them a minute or two.
Okay.
Celeste also wants to say thank you, and she thinks it was very interesting.
Okay.
Powerful.
Thank you so much.
Best webinar I've attended. Thank you, Anna.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, please free your mind and use metaphors. Grow with them and use them with clients. They will love it. So you will go beyond the usual just talking, specialized coaching conversation. So you can use 3D metaphors, objects, ideas, drawings, yes, to create your own style. My style is very metaphoric. And I think people like it because I receive that feedback.
Yeah, it was very, very inspiring. I think I also want to say that the topic itself and the ideas you gave, very, very exciting. Anna is asking if she can use some of your examples.
Of course, that's why I'm doing this webinar, because if I get the metaphors only for me, they will not reach higher horizons. So that's why I'm showing it to you. It's to spread the good news. It's to spread ideas. Yes. I use coaching as a mission. So when you have coaching as a mission, you need to spread the word. You need to, and when you see people grow and use even bigger and stronger and nicer metaphors, you say, wow, wonderful. So you are growing together with the client and with the student. It's wonderful. That's the meaning of coaching.
Yes, that's right. Well, if there are no more questions or comments, then I think we have reached the end of our session. Alexandra, thank you for all your ideas.
Okay, Alexis. Okay, and also I would like to be available for any other questions when we disconnect from the webinar. So you can reach me. You have my contacts at the ICC homepage, at the trainers page. All my contacts are there, so you can reach me. Also, if you want to exchange ideas or to take some other questions or anything, any thoughts.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm available.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, and thanks to everybody who attended. Thank you for being here, and I'll be seeing you soon in a future webinar.
Okay, thank you so much, Alexis, for the time. Okay,
take care, Alexandra.
For the support. Bye bye, everybody. Yes, thank you for attending. Bye bye.
Bye.